Oh, well, my co-host, who's usually on with me, the internet went out in New York, so you've just
Oh,
got the pleasure of just me. But I think I look like a koala bear this morning, so I think I'm very suitable for this. Why don't you introduce yourself and let the world kind of know who you are right now?
I'm Austin Brooks. I'm a professional boxer fighting out of San Diego, California. Right now I'm 11-0, four knockouts, and looking to go 12-0. The 10th, February
Okay,
10th.
let me do the ad drop for this fight. So it's CBN Promotions presents Super Brawl Saturday. You are the main event. You're taking on Jose Luis Rodriguez, unless something has changed recently. Um, what does this mean to headline a card like this with CBN Promotions and all that good stuff?
It means a lot for sure for me to be headlining again. This will be my second fight I'll be headlining in a row, and 10 rounder as well. I'm just looking forward to be moving up the ranks and working closer towards the title shot and making better money.
Okay, and that's a theme. I actually did research for this interview, and I always joke that that's bad in boxing because you're supposed to just wing it. You're not ever supposed to be prepared. It feels like professionalism should be out the window. What weight class do you fight at? Because I've noticed that you've kind of self-described yourself as featherweight and super featherweight. If in a perfect world money is there, what weight class would you like to campaign for a title at?
At this point, right now, 130. So junior lightweight, super featherweight. I started at 126. My mind was set on 126 at a title, but after discussing with my team, uh, we agreed that 130 is better for me because I saw performance drop off going to 126.
Okay, so you just basically saw that that was a hard weight for you to comfortably make and that you weren't going to be the guy in the gym.
Yeah, I mean the I can I actually didn't struggle too bad making the weight, but my coach brought it to my attention that he noticed I was, just I performed better at 130. More comfortable at that weight. I really don't like cutting weight anyways, so 130 is comfortable for me. I don't cut much weight to
Me neither. That's why I'm not cutting weight. That's why I'm not
it.
ripped, you know? I don't think anyone's like, "You know what I wanna do? I wanna eat a salad." You
Oh
know,
yeah,
like
yeah, I agree. I mean, when I'm cutting weight, those last few days to 126, and I'm seeing people, eating what they want, and I'm like, man, this ain't it. I'll go up a weight class.
I mean, I think that's the fighter lifestyle, though. You have to learn to, like, love those moments of suffering. That's, like, what makes and breaks a great fighter is, like, when you start to go, "Oh, this is that feeling of, like, pain and
Yeah,
inner hunger pains." Isn't that part of the process?
for sure. But you shouldn't be killing yourself to make a weight. If you know, old school fighters, they didn't cut a lot of weight. They didn't need to cut a lot of weight. I'm okay if they have to cut a lot of weight. It's not that I don't cut weight and I don't take it serious. I train hard and cut my weight, and it's just I don't look to suffer and drain myself just to make a weight class so I'm the bigger guy. Don't make sense to me.
Okay. Now let's get into kind of your background. You moved around a lot. I'm kind of curious why.
I moved around a lot because my mom was moving around a lot. Just had was looking for a new start. Always it seemed like, and I can't really have an answer for you on that why. But I just went with my mom with my mom.
So I guess my question to you is how did that shape the world for you moving around a lot? Like how did you in pivotal years where it kind of shapes the way you look at the world, how do you feel you've adjusted to the world from basically not having as much stability as others?
Well, I mean, it definitely suited me to be a fighter. That's for sure. Always being the new kid, you definitely get a lot of people picking on you or things like that. So, I did have to adjust a lot when I moved to a new place. I had to, sometimes, it was a lot harder than other times. I was able to go into some spots a lot easier than others. I felt like some places I had to earn my respect. Other places I was able to, people were a lot more friendly. But I don't
Now
know. It definitely.
I'm gonna be an interviewer. What was the hardest place? Where do you remember distinctly, like your least favorite place? Like where, man, this one's hard.
My least favorite, it wasn't necessarily because it was hard. It was just a location, but was I lived in North Dakota. It was extremely cold, extremely desolate, real real boring. Not much opportunity out there. I felt like, so it was just I didn't like it out there very much. We're super small, and everybody knows you. Everybody talks about you. Um, so I didn't like North Dakota, to be honest. I don't want to talk bad about it. It had good things too, but it was my least favorite for sure.
I mean, as someone that's Norwegian and I have family from North Dakota, the saying I've heard is where hope goes to die, because it's like it's a very hopeless feeling. It's like you're just kind of in a town and you get old in the town. And
Oh,
some people leave and that's it.
that's it, man. That's literally what it is. It's real. There's not much hope out there. It's either you go work on the oil fields, or at a fast food place. I don't know. There's not much to do out there, so I knew I had to get out of there.
And you're listed as Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, as where you're originally from. So do you have any connection to there?
Yeah, I mean, I was born there and moved. I moved around a lot growing up. I lived there off and on growing up, and I do have some family in the surrounding area. Not not Coeur d'Alene anymore, but like Spokane Valley, Spokane, which is in Washington, and I think I got some family in like I forgot the area, but it's right outside of Coeur d'Alene. It's in like a rural area.
Okay. So I mean like that I'm just kind of trying to figure out some stuff. 18-2 is an amateur. That's a hell of an amateur record because most people have to get adjusted or lose a few fights. And then you came into the sport late. So talk me through the process of becoming a boxer and then also having this good amateur record. Were you just like an angry person and just punking people, or what was the, like, I mean, it's not common to have that kind of record and be late to the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had an understanding of it for sure. I felt more than others. Growing up, like I said, being the new kid, I did get in a lot of, I got in a lot of fights, growing up, and I felt like I knew how to apply the sport a lot better um, to situations and how to catch on to it quick. Just because I did get in a lot of fights growing up. I did train a little bit too growing up. I did a few boxing lessons when I was younger, like 8 years old. I did MMA a little bit, when I was a teenager. So it was easy for me to catch on quick and get the ropes. And I do feel like boxing was a little bit more my suited for me, my athleticism and everything. I felt boxing was my bread and butter. It was a lot easier for me to adjust to boxing, I felt, than other sports.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, anybody notable you ever train with kind of in when you were in the developmental stages that you remember?
Early on, I mean, just having guys, pros around at the gym definitely influenced me a lot. There's guys like Dennis Grachev. He's a Russian guy. He at the time he was fighting pretty big when I was first starting. He was having some pretty big fights, and so that definitely motivated me. And he taught me a lot about training and you know being disciplined, things like that. And then that was just early on. But Chris Bird, coming around the gym, I I met a few. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. I sparred with like Maurice Hooker real early on when he first won his world title, and I was only had a couple amateur fights. And then later on, like when I first went pro, is when I started really getting some good work with a lot of good pros, and high level amateurs. I went to the Olympic Training Center for a training camp right before the pandemic in 2020. So I got to spar a lot of really good guys that are making their names now. And I went into training camp with Oscar Valdez not that long ago. I've sparred a lot of good guys and trained with a lot of good guys. So that definitely motivated me and got me better throughout the years.
So I'm a football guy, and they call that a dude. Like the quarterbacks are like, that's a dude. And it sounds like you're like in that cultivated group of talent where people see potential and talent, and the world champions are bringing you in because you have enthusiasm, talent, and you're going to drive someone that's really good to have to work their ass off and not get beat up in their fight, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how it was early on, for sure. I guess definitely that, and same with me.
San Diego being your home, how did you land on it, and why did it become your home?
Well, this is where all my family originates. On my mom and my dad's side, they all originate from out here in San Diego or Southern California. So um, I did live here real at a young age and moved away, came back, um, and I always had family, a lot of my family out here. So when I turned like 16, I moved back down here with my grandmother and just really started focusing on boxing, really.
Okay, and then you started going to the arena, I take it?
No, I started training at City Boxing. My first gym ever when I was real young, like 8 or 9. I trained at was City Boxing here in downtown San Diego, and I started there and started with a Manny Melchor, who's a former two-time world champ, and started training also with Vernon Lee, who was real, instrumental in developing me early on. He definitely uh, improved my game and my mental just to a whole nother level. His name was Vernon Lee. He helped me out a lot. He was a former professional, and then I wanted to take my game to the next level. My coach really wasn't taking it too seriously with me. wasn't trying to. He wasn't really fighting too much. He was kind of just wasn't motivated. It seemed like to, I don't know, take it to that next level, and I was. So I knew my coach now, Basheer Abdullah, through the amateurs and sparring, and so I went to the arena and got hooked up with him, and ever since then, I definitely elevated to a whole nother level, and we're just improving day by day.
Great coach, known him for
Yeah.
years, great coach. I was just thinking about it. I think I saw you, and you didn't know. 2019 Oxnard Olympic Trials, you were in the back. I was with Tiger Johnson and Mark Castro in the secret room. I said hello to
Mm,
Bashir, and I'm positive that you were the person he was admitting. And I
definitely.
totally blanked because there's like 100 fighters in a small locker room, and it's so
Mm.
easy to get. I just remember I saw Najee Lopez stop a guy. I was with Tiger and Mark, and then I just realized before this interview, I'm like, I think you were the person warming up on like a Thursday night at the Oxnard Community Center in 2019.
Yeah, definitely. That was. I don't remember you specifically, but I do. Yeah, I was definitely there.
Well, I wouldn't imagine you'd remember because you were about to fight, and I
Yeah.
sure hope to God that you don't have a picture perfect memory for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't. But yeah, that was me. I was there with Coach. That was actually my first and only national tournament for real.
Okay, how did that experience go?
It was good, man. A lot of nerves, obviously, going into my first one. It was really a really big tournament too, as you know. A lot of good fighters there, a lot of great talent, and but I did very well. I for my first one, I'm at the last chance qualifier for the Olympic trials. I made it to the semifinals, and I just felt like I got a lot more comfortable with myself and comfortable in the ring after that tournament, and I just know if I was to stay amateur or hit another one of those tournaments, I definitely would have won.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of times what we talk about on this show is achievable success. And the people that make it are people that set goals that you can reach, and then you try to step your game up from the goals you reach. And what I like hearing is you're not down in the dumps because you didn't win it. You said, okay, I got to the semifinals. That's pretty freaking good for where I was at. And I know I could have done better, but it sounds like the amateurs was also a huge financial burden for you. It sounds like you have
Oh,
to create a lot of financial stability for yourself so you don't get the luxury of being an amateur.
no, that was definitely it. I just didn't have that, and that's why when I went to train with my coach now, Basheer, at the arena was able to provide for us, and my coach as well. Came out of his pocket and helped me out a lot to get me there. So I'm extremely thankful for that, and I wish I could have did more of it, but I have my own story to tell. And it's gonna be a different
Okay,
way.
our chat has some questions for you. So my man Jesus M is saying goals for 2024. What is your goal for this year?
My goal is to get at least 4 to 5 fights if I can. Last year was too slow for me, and I just really want to keep moving up the ranks with better opposition and slowly get down slowly work my way up to that title. Really, that's it. I'm hoping I can go from you know prospect to contender somewhere around there by the end of this year.
Okay, so I saw somewhere that you wanted to fight 4 to 5 times a year, which I mean, I think most fighters feel that way. It's just the darn business of boxing, the
Yeah,
economics.
100%. And yeah, I know that's what it's about. That's what it is. So I would just love to get as many fights as I can, and you know, keep working my way up those ranks and keep getting paid.
Yep, they threw in you versus Floyd Schofield. Unfortunately, Floyd's now at lightweight, so he's not in your
Mm.
division. So I think um, they're a little misinformed. Will Austin travel to the UK to test their young prospects? I mean, that might be a good
Yes.
decision for you because they pay good and the fans actually
Yeah.
support you. What do you
No.
think?
Yeah. I definitely would. I've said that before. I'd like to go to the UK, and I'm looking forward to traveling and fighting. That's something I want to do. So I definitely want to travel across the pond and check out UK. Nothing but respect to them too. They love boxing, and they're a boxing country. So I'd love to go out there and do that.
And I mean, given the fact that you don't have your national title and stuff, I think it's safe to say like your big opportunity is probably going to come on the wrong corner. Like a major promoter may invest in you, but realistically you're
Mhm.
going to have to upset somebody.
Yeah.
How do you handle that knowing because I assume you probably know that.
Yeah.
What's your mentality? Are you going in to take it from somebody or
Yeah. Of
how do
course.
you get driven by that?
Yeah. Of course. I mean, I knew that going into this that I was gonna be, not having the amateur career and stuff like that. There's gonna be a point when they're gonna have put me on the B side against the guy that I'm supposed to lose to, and that's something I'm looking forward to. I feel I've always kind of been on the B side, or I'm not in my pro career necessarily, but I feel that way at times. I feel like kind of like the black sheep. I feel like because I'm white, some people think that I'm not that good at boxing, or I'm not tough, and I can't do it. Um, and so I know that once I get into these top rankings, I'll be able to take on somebody and upset a lot of people.
Tell me about it, bro. Always freaking underestimated. I get it, bro. I
Yeah,
get it. So because I mean I get it, bro. Because it's like how many good white fighters have there because for me it's like Calzaghe, Kelly Pavlik,
hmm,
but typically like there haven't been because boxing's I hate to say it, a poor man's sport. And
yeah, 100%.
a lot of suburban people aren't like, you know what I need to do? Let's get my kid into boxing and try to get him into law school too.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, and it comes from definitely being a fighter comes from your upbringing, and my life my life was always a fight, man. So it was never easy. I didn't come from a silver spoon, no money. We struggled a lot, and you know, I know I'm a fighter, so that I know this is for me.
Guess another question I have for you is how how driven are you for the financial elements? Like how driven are you to create the stability you've always wanted in your life? Like, how much is that a motivating factor for you?
It is a big motivating factor for me for sure to take care of myself. Um, I just and my family really. I really want to help out my family and just get myself out of the position I'm in right now. Um, just it's definitely a big motivation for me. But I have other motivations. That's not the only one. I have a lot of different motivations in my life that are pushing me to keep going and be great.
Uh, anything we should know about what your current situation is for context? Because I don't really know what your situation is.
Say that again.
I don't know what, like, if you feel comfortable, do you want to explain what your situation is? Because I don't fully know it, other
Uh,
than I know you're a fighter and you're probably living the bare minimum to get by right now.
that's 100% what it is. This life ain't easy. I'm struggling. To pay my rent every month, to eat right, all of that. But that's why I fight, man. I'm trying to get as many fights as I can to get myself out of where I'm at, and I know I'll be able to do it. I just gotta, stay focused, keep training hard, and keep doing what I'm doing, and I know I'll be where I'm supposed to be by the end of the year, hopefully.
The chat wants to know if you have anybody that you want to get in the ring with. Is there any fighter out
Uh,
there?
um, I'm just really looking at the champions right now, and along the way, there's a few guys. I don't know. There's a few names that's been brought up, and as a possible competition, I would like to compete against. Mark Castro is one of them. Uh, I don't know if who's all at 130 on the rise right now, but as far as the champions, I would love to fight like Navarrete eventually. I think he's a really good fighter. I would like to fight Emmanuel Navarrete. Um, Hobson Conceição. And then once I get up, I think eventually I'll be at 135 too. And I would like to take on the guys like Floyd Shawfield and the guys at lightweight.
Like the superstars, the guys that are in the big
Yeah,
fights, because there's a lot
yeah,
of superstars at lightweight. Super featherweight to me, you got Shock, Lamont Roach, Navarrete. You got some
that's
really
right.
good fighters, but they're not as superstar-ish yet.
Right, for sure. And you mentioned those names. I would like to get in the ring with all those guys as well. Just gotta keep improving. That's it. Keep working my way up these ranks, and that's it. I'm ready to go.
The chat's asking, are you a full-time fighter?
Yes, I'm a full time fighter,
And
and that's
for
why I
the
just
and just to let people know, you're not I don't believe you're signed with a promoter, so you're a full-time fighter without a active promoter, which is a hell of an experience.
yeah. Tell me about it. It's tough, and I gotta being a full time fighter and uh, not being signed to a promoter is tough, man. Real tough. This isn't a sport for the weak. You know what I mean? I tell people that if you have other options, you got a job. This ain't something you just want to do. This is something that you gotta love and you really want to pursue it. Because I do it a lot for the love. Because I can go get a job and start taking care of myself. I love this sport, and I have goals that I want to accomplish. I want to have some legacy in the sport. I want my name to live on. I don't want to just get a couple paychecks and bounce. That's not what I want to do. So I do have goals, and I love this sport and want to cement my name in it. But yeah, I don't recommend it for anybody unless you love it.
Who's your historical boxing inspiration? Like, who's the great legend that stands out? I saw I got a smile from you.
I always say Roy Jones Jr. That's my guy, man. That's my favorite fighter of all time, Roy Jones Jr. He really got me to wanna box. Once I saw Roy Jones Jr. highlight, I was like, that's it. That's how I want to fight. And I don't fight like him necessarily, but I do pick up some things, and he inspired me a lot.
I will say I'm old enough to where I remember being places and not knowing how to use the internet and people telling me what Roy did and being like, that can't be real. And then you'd go and see it on a VHS tape or a DVD and you'd be like, wait, he did that? Wait, how do you
Yeah.
do that? Like, how do you jump in with a hook like that and
Yep.
then throw the body shot? It like, I just remember the first time I saw Roy at the elite level, how it blew my mind. Like, I couldn't believe it was possible.
Yeah, he's insane. Like you, I do the same. I'll tell people like go watch his highlight or something. They'll hit me up with the same stuff. Like it looks like it's not real. That's what they think. It's like it looks like it's like fake, and I'm like, yeah, it's real.
And then, like, add to it, he has a cool rap song. So if you look at his highlight video,
Oh
it's
yeah,
to him rapping, knocking everybody out. So it's like that
yeah.
just adds to the Roy.
Oh yeah, he's actually good too. He has some good music. So it's like the there's nobody else that does that. You know, goes from another sport to specifically like making music or rapping. It's like it never works out. It's never good. But Roy's Roy, man.
Because we had like an era of really bad, like Shaq did really bad, Kobe did really bad. Like there were a lot of like really great athletes that were really embarrassing rappers. And Roy was like the only one where it's like, okay, he sounds like a generic rapper.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah, for sure. That's what I mean. Like so many of them were like, and it goes across so many sports. Like I know a lot that tried to do it, and it's like it's never good. But he did good.
Yeah, he did good. You're giving me like the Diaz brothers vibes. That's like a vibe I'm getting. Like
Diaz
Nate and Nick.
brothers.
Yeah, the MMA guys. Like you kind
Yeah,
of give me
yeah,
like this
yeah.
no BS, like I'm gonna beat someone up vibe when I talk to you.
I appreciate it, man. I don't know. I always like the Diaz brothers. Some of my favorite fight. Nick Diaz is one of my favorite MMA fighters for sure.
Yeah, Nick's
Actually, funny story about the gym I train at, City Boxing. They have like a legendary altercation with the Diaz brothers. Like they had a brawl in Strike Force. Did you know about that?
yeah, with KJ Noons.
Yeah, yeah, KJ Noons. So KJ was always at City Boxing when he beat uh Nick Diaz, stopped him when when he was training at City Boxing. He started there, and so they all have like you could see it on video. Like they all got into a brawl, and you just see all the City Boxing and Nick Diaz's crew and all them. It's funny because it's the gym I train at. And we have the picture of him when he won the title against Nick Diaz and everything,
Well,
and
I
where the
think
brawl
that
happened.
we're missing a not that that stuff should always happen, but we're missing a little bit of that people really caring in
Oh yeah,
boxing. Because it's like, I think if they probably saw each other today, they'd probably, like, laugh and be like, "Man, that was fun having, like, a guy I hated." You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah,
Like, there's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
isn't that what you live for is, like, a real rivalry? Like, to really
Yeah.
get up and wanna fight a guy like that?
No, for sure. The rivalries are always, I feel, important in fighting sports. It's part of the legacy. It's like the Tyson and Evander. It's a lot of big fights, a lot of good rivalries. Pacquiao, Marquez. It'll just go down as legendary fights. Um,
Canelo Golovkin.
yeah, right. I was thinking of also what was the one Israel Vasquez and the other guy.
Oh,
Uh,
Israel Vasquez and Marquez.
yeah, it was them. Yep, they got at it a few times, just wars. That
Brandon Rios and, Mike
Mike,
Alvarado, Mile
yeah,
High.
Mike Alvarado. Yep. Those are all good rivalries that are gonna last a long time in boxing. So you need those.
Without being an idiot and asking you something obvious, is that what you're kinda fighting for too? Is to have a real rivalry? Like, one of those moments where it's like you gotta watch this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking for that moment. I not necessarily a rivalry, but I figure that's gonna come with it. You know what I mean? I just think that let me think. Like I'm looking forward to the big fights for sure. Just fights you're looking forward to, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like a rivalry. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying because every fight is created different. And every battle has to be different. Like some guys, if you trash talk them, that's the best thing you can do because that fuels them. Some guys, it's like you'd rather be humble, you know?
Yeah, and I think it goes off. I'm down for whatever it is. It's like more off of the vibe, you know. Like what if you go head to head or you meet him and right out the energy's off and he's trying to front or whatever, then you're gonna have to let him know and get a little mean with him. But if he's coming off respectful, shaking your hand, I'm not gonna slap his hand away and talk shit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna shake his hand and we'll go on respectfully. But once we get in that ring, it's gonna be,
I
it's
want
gonna
to
be
see someone trash talk you, bro. That's kind of, I want to see that because I think there's a
yeah,
high entertainment factor if someone came out and disrespected you at a press conference.
yeah, for sure. If they want to talk, I'll talk back with them. That's all there is to it. I mean, uh, but whatever. I really don't care. Anybody can, and at the end of the day, they're gonna have to get in the ring and back up what they're saying.
They're asking, well, the chat's asking, is city boxing gym the best you've been to? I'd say arena is probably the best gym you've been to just off of what you've said. They're asking that, but I think that's subjective. My last thing I'm going to ask you, and then I can ask you about if you watched any of the fights last night and then wish you the best day ever. What is this opportunity for CBN Promotions putting you at the top of this card February 10th? Like, explain to the people what it means to be in this spot currently coming from where you're coming from, which is a limited amateur background, and it's pretty friggin' hard to get fights, I would assume.
Yeah, no, it means everything. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Um, when they told me that I would be headlining again, and I just felt very grateful and appreciative because of my situation, and I'm just looking forward to going out there, showcasing my skills, and uh, showing that I'm improving every time out. Getting better every time, and hopefully I'll be able to get the stoppage for everybody and make everybody happy. Get to go home happy with a knockout, and you know I'm just looking forward to it. I'm super excited. Thank you, CBN, for the opportunity. Thank you to Sheer Sports, my team, um, City Boxing, the arena. Thank you guys, and I'm just excited.
That's a key word right there, is a team. To be a good pro boxer, it's a lot of you, but you gotta have a badass team if you wanna
I
be
got
at
a
the high
great
level.
team. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I got a great team, and they got me in the position I'm in. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And that's the fact. So City Boxing, everybody there that helped me, the arena, my coach Basheer Abdullah, Vernon Lee, Manny, everybody, they got me right.
Any Basheer stories?
Um, I mean, he's got some stories to tell you, that's for sure. I mean, most of the stories I'd say is, he's got some good stories to tell you, but I don't know, like what kind of, like a funny one or what?
I mean, just
I
any,
can't
because I
really
mean,
think of
like,
one.
you've spent a lot of your life,
Well,
especially your
let me
professional
say,
life.
I'll say this, like, funny story how we met. Um, he had came to spar with somebody. I think it was Joe Perez. He came to spar, and there was a fight that weekend, like an amateur fight, and my coach somehow or I had told my coach that I wanted to fight Basheer's fighter that he had at the time because he was also undefeated in San Diego. I was undefeated like for like 10 fights, my first 10 fights, and so he was undefeated too, and I wanted to take his O. So I instead of sparring with Joe, we decided, hey, this weekend we'll fight your boy, and so let's do that. And so we're like, oh, he was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's set it up. Boom. So we set up the fight. It was me with my coach Vernon Lee against Basheer Abdullah's fighter, and we went head to head in San Diego, and I got the dub, I got the win, and it was a good fight. But that's how we originally met. Like I actually fought one of his guys, and then after that, it was oh, I want the rematch. That guy wanted to get the rematch with me forever, but he kind of just stopped boxing and all this. So that's how we met originally. Was kind of a little rivalry.
feel like
But
that's a good way to meet in boxing, like to meet on a competitive terms.
yeah, that's what it was. You know, he came and they wanted to fight again, and then we ended up not fighting actually ever again. But I ended up sparring a lot more with Basheer's guys every now and then, and that's how we got to know each other. And you know, we was always respect though. We'd always see each other, shake hands, hey, how are you? And so
Okay.
yeah, it grew over the years our relationship, and that's how we met.
And finally, before I get you out of here and ask you your socials and all that, did you watch any of this Jaime Munguia stuff last night? Did you have any thoughts on
I
that?
I didn't watch the full fight, but I did actually just watch the highlights this morning, and I mean Jaime's super strong. Um, John Ryder looked kind of like he was I don't know. It didn't. I just watched the highlights, but it didn't look like he was really trying to win. It looked like he was trying to avoid a big shot and just kind of hanging in there.
I
Um,
also think it's a hard matchup for a guy like John Ryder. John Ryder's a guy who doesn't hit particularly hard at the highest level, but he outworks you and he's physically tough, but he doesn't keep his head off the line that well. He's a
mhm.
guy who out toughs you, outworks you in the second half of the fight. You go in there with a guy who thumps really hard. That's just a hard style to go, okay, I'm going to walk into some big right hands. And then after you eat about five of those big right hands, you're like, oh man, I don't really like doing that, but I don't really know what to do to not do that. But I don't
Yeah,
want to get hit with that because it really hurts. And I think that he just got caught where he didn't really have the tools to
mm,
stop Munguia from landing those type of big shots.
yeah, yeah. No, it was a good matchup for Munguia for sure. But yeah, John Ryder that needs a little better defense, footwork. But he might be. I don't know. Actually, now that I saw the fight, his legs are big. But I saw him like uh this this last week on Monday. I saw him up in L.A. at a gym I was at, and I was thinking, man, he's small for. I was thinking he looked small to be fighting like Canelo and those guys. I've seen Canelo. I've been around Canelo, so I know Canelo really doesn't look too big either in person. He's big, but he's not too big. So I was like, man, John kind of looks small, and Jaime always looks big to me. But when I saw the fight up in the ring, I saw where all his weight was. He's got some big old legs, man. John Ryder's got some
And he's
tree trunk.
wide. Like
Yeah,
his
he
his
is.
back is really big. I was telling someone Munguia's taller and bigger,
Hmm.
but Ryder has bigger legs and a wider back. Like you
Yeah,
can
he
see
did.
where he wins fights. Like
Yeah, and that's when I saw him. He looked small, and granted, he's cutting weight, so that also went into fact. I didn't realize he was fighting this weekend, so that makes sense. But when I saw him in the ring, I was like, man, he's got some tree trunks. That makes sense why he's fighting at that weight.
I think he's also like, let's be real. He was mostly a middleweight for a lot of his career. The big
Hmm.
money fights are at super middleweight. And when
Yeah,
you've put in like 45, 50 fights like he has, you're going to go to wherever the biggest opportunities are because a guy like John Ryder has paid his dues and just wants a big fight. So what's 8 pounds at the end of the day when he's put this much time in?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, for sure. I think so too. That's kind of went back to my when we first talked about cutting weight. I think, especially once you get to that higher level and stuff like that, I don't think you should be cutting too much weight. Really, I think you should be comfortable and be able to. But you don't be oversized either. Don't be oversized. If you're oversized, then maybe you should go down. That's all there is to it. But
I mean, my rule of thumb, and I'm just a guy talking on the internet on YouTube about boxing, so I'm obviously the most informed person to say things. Um, what's it called? I think that you look at the heights of the guys in your weight classes, if
mhm,
you're way shorter and have a shorter reach, but you feel great, you're probably at the wrong weight class. Like if there's like
that's
a
true.
there's like a height thing to me. Like you want
No,
to
yeah,
kind of look like when you're standing next to all your peers, you want everybody to kind of be looking like a similar body to you.
no, yeah, for sure. I agree. I agree.
Then you
And
have some exceptions, like a Floyd, where he can just move up. Pacquiao can move up, but like for most fighters, you have to look at where does my body optimize.
no, for sure, I agree.
Okay, where social media? Where can people follow you? All that stuff. Buy tickets. Do you have a code?
I have tickets on hand, physical tickets. But you can follow me on Instagram at one Austin Brooks. That's the number one Austin Brooks. And Facebook, I got a page on there, Austin Brooks. I'm fighting out of San Diego. I live in San Diego. So if people need tickets, reach out to me and I got you.
Okay, well, you can exit the chat, and because my co-host isn't here, I'm just going to talk boxing for about 20 minutes. You're more than welcome to
Okay.
join. It's probably going to be pretty boring for you, but you can stay on if you want. But I'm going to appease the people that like to hear my takes on boxing for the next probably 20 minutes. So
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, brother. What was your name again?
I'm Lukie, but you can just call me
Lukie.
Hey Guy or that dude over there or whatever, you know.
No, I'll call you by your name, brother.
Okay,
Lukie, it
well,
was
I
good to meet
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for your time and the questions. Same with everybody on the chat. Thank you, guys.
It's all
Uh,
good. I can't wait to watch you fight February 10th. CBN Promotions, Long Beach, California, Thunder Studios. Wonderful event. Get your tickets. If I knew the prices, I'd say them right now, but I don't.
$75 for some, center view seats right there by the ring. Um, and there's some $50 ones that just a little bit further.
And you can DM him and get your tickets probably. So go through the fighter. That would be great. Who is he facing? We've talked about that earlier. Go back in the stream and you can get to it because but Jesus, I will talk about a little bit about your fight once you get off because you've given us a ton of time. We're super grateful and I'm excited to see what you do.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Okay, so that was our guest this week, Austin Brooks. Great interview. Now, Dakota's internet is out this week, so we're going to do an emergency pod on Wednesday that we're going to throw on to